Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. All right, so before we fly here at Giga-Texas, I want to just recap my trip out at Teslacon. I did that over the last week. It was held in Orlando, Florida by the Tesla Owners Group Florida, and it was at the beautiful Margaritaville Hotel. And they had a lot of great venues for us. People came in from all over the state, and we actually had people dial in from around the world that were using their Teslas as kind of like a van life. We had Starman, we had roundtables, and we had demonstrations, and also a great representation from the local Tesla sales and service centers. Of course, they had Optimus there. I got a chance to speak to the group a little bit about Giga-Texas and some of the events that are going on here. And then spent some time out at many of the displays, meeting with people from the club and from all over the country. And this is just a few kind of examples of that. And just really had a great opportunity to meet so many people. And I would recommend that if you have a chance to go to one of these events, and there are a number of them all over the country, I highly recommend it. You get a chance to also talk to some pretty impressive people, some of which that you see on YouTube, such as Larry Goldberg. Of course, we had the light show, which is always a fan favorite, and we had the Back to the Future theme Model X with the flames coming out. So in other words, it was just an outstanding event, and I'm really glad I got a chance to participate. Now, switching gears, some big news about the robotaxi fleet. Not only are they here in Texas and California, but they just finished up the necessary permits to expand to Nevada, and there's a lot of work that's going on in Arizona and Florida as well. They also have been doing updates to the testing app that I have for Robotaxi, and here's a couple of the screenshots for that. They use this as kind of a test bed before they roll it out to the public. It's also being used for further expansion, and from what I am understanding, we can expect a pretty large expansion into multiple different cities and states in the very near future, so something to look forward to. And Tesla's been sending out a lot of big updates recently, and one of them is the Semi. Now, we know that they are finishing up the production lines out at Giga Nevada, and they just had this release where they have joined forces with Uber Freight to use Tesla semis in that program, and it will help provide predictable growth and optimize utilization by matching carriers and shippers with lower cost EV freight options. Of course, the Semi is going to be a central part of that. This is another way for Tesla to be able to roll those semis out in a much larger manner coming up next year. So really great news. And the last piece of news I want to bring up about the Tesla Semi is you will remember these items here, part of a stamping press as they were getting loaded up to leave Giga-Texas, headed to Giga Nevada. Now, because of some of the drone work and ground level work by Zangler, or Heinrich Zane, who flies drones out at Giga Nevada, we get a chance to see them here arriving at the site. They were moved in very quickly into the factory and are being assembled inside to, again, be ready for that production sometime in 2026. So if you aren't following Zangler or Heinrich Zane, here's what he looks like, and I would recommend you take a look on his YouTube channel. There's a lot of great information about what's going on at Giga Nevada.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description.
If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you.
My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga, Texas. Well, it's great to be back here at Giga-Texas after a week in Florida at the Teslacon. There's a lot of different changes and updates, so let's get started right away. Take a look at the bottom of the screen, more of that work on the trenching next to a river road. Looks like they're filling in some of this here in this space and a lot more along the south side of River Road, which we'll see here in a little bit in the video a little closer up. Now you can tell that they are using this extension of River Road now a lot more, and also the pond, that line pond, looks pretty full today. Now as we fly along River Road, you can see that they have some more of those earth working equipment here near this bend in the road, and maybe they'll be working on that intersection with Robotic Avenue. But most of the traffic is kind of on that parallel road next to the trees on the right. But definitely something has changed on that road, as we kind of talked about on my previous video. Now as we get in closer to this staging yard, I'll zoom in and you can tell that more of those wooden crates have been unpacked, and a lot of the equipment is actually not there anymore, probably inside the factory being installed. Also tell some more of the building equipment and some of the pipe segments for more of that underground water management system. The old testing and calibration lot looks like it's mostly empty still. Nothing going on at the helicopter pad, and there was nothing going on at the wind tunnel either. Now as we come up over the traffic circle here, we're going to look at this temporary loading platform. There's a crane actively picking up parts, and as I zoom in, this is what they look like. Kind of potentially maybe some robotic assemblers with some plastic wrap around them. I'll try to zoom in and get as close as I possibly can so you can see what these look like. They are on a kind of a wide base, and they'll probably be bolted to the floor wherever they are installed. There's another one at the bottom center of the screen next to some of those crates. I'll keep the zoom in. We'll kind of pan along this side of the building. The east secondary entrance is coming into view. A lot of casting still being stored on the ground just inside, and that work location where they have that temporary entrance with the plastic and the plywood. We also see some more equipment on the ground here that has been positioned to be moved into that one temporary platform. And then at this one, we see some more equipment being unloaded off of that Hamburg truck, and some other equipment on the ground nearby where that crane is, and it'll be lifted up into that temporary platform. More equipment in boxes, crates, and plastic on the bottom right of the screen near this temporary platform. And as we continue to fly along this east side towards the south, this gives us a great view of all of the equipment, all of the kind of white and red platform items next to the wall, and a bunch of other items that are just waiting here for their turn to be moved inside. Now the cooling plant looks pretty active today. 4 of the 6 fans are actively in operation. And of course that temporary platform with that new kind of receiving door on top, and that black stained wall that had been added in. As I mentioned, here is a better look at the south side of the river road where the trench work is underway. We see some of the concrete pipes, more of the trench boxes, and a lot of dirt has been piled up here next to the silt fence. A nice view along the Cyberpond and the 3 emergency escape tunnels on the right-hand side of the screen. And then as we turn back, I'll give you a closer look here at some of the equipment that is underway here with the excavations, the trench boxes, and the depth of some of that trenching that is underway. And this continues all along this south side. And as we get in closer, we can tell that this is a pretty deep excavation, a very large trench box. And we have seen some drilling operations in that pit as well on previous videos. Most of the work around the fork statue appears complete. It just looks like it's dirt for the moment. And then here we see some big developments next to this caisson. In fact, there's this excavation. Looks like they've been drilling some holes, putting in these steel I-beams, and it kind of continues all along this section. So it looks like something is definitely being reinforced here. Maybe it's a change based on conditions, or maybe it's just another structure that's going to be added. But nevertheless, very interesting to see this work underway. As I look along that berm, you can tell it's continuing to have outwork all the way up towards the flagpoles. And then here, as I come back down, I just wanted to show you the work over this emergency escape tunnel. The two areas with the gravel pulled away, and it looks like there's maybe some sort of a pipe going into the building from this location. So we're going to go around the corner here. We'll take a look at this exit of the drive path that comes through this part of the building. It starts on the east side. It goes next to the cyber tunnel on the inside here, and then exits. It looks like they still have that fenced off section with some of these forklifts and other equipment. And of course, the well-defined lane that comes out of the factory. As we pass over another Model Y driving autonomously out of the factory to the west side, I'll give you a closer look at the trench work, the trench boxes, and more of the activity that is underway here on this berm. And it's on sort of both sides of the berm that we see that excavation work. More of that grass seed matting that has been placed, mostly for erosion control, but it looks like they're going to have to wait until they finish up more of the construction before they add that all throughout this area. Also see on the left where the silt fence is, the new permanent perimeter fence has not been installed here yet. On the west main entrance, some of the vehicles that were left over from the kind of industrial day that I came to a few weeks ago are still here. And next to it is the exit point for the Model Ys coming out of the factory. And I think as we kind of maneuver here, we'll get lucky and see a couple of the Model Ys coming out of the factory for the very first time. And of course, these are driving autonomously over to the west side. As I pull back, this gives a little view of what this appears like. And as far as I know, they're still trying to stick to the 1 vehicle per minute run rate. And, you know, they've been really seeing a lot of demand this quarter. As a reminder, for anybody who may be thinking about buying a Tesla and you want to get that $7,500 government rebate, you need to do so very quickly. There's just 2 weeks left in the quarter. Now, we do see more of these large crates being delivered to this platform and picked up by the crane. Some of this has been Tesla automation parts, and some of this is other equipment. Again, this is where structural packs are made, as well as putting the batteries together. So this is all in support of the production lines that are nearing completion. And a nice view looking down from a bird's eye view of that crane and the lift, plus some more of the equipment that has been lifted to the roof, including some solar panels that are being installed onto these racks that you see along the center of the screen, heading off to the right. So I'm going to prepare the drone to head over the road, and we'll resume on the other side. The Model Y is arriving and heading into the north end of the end of line for final processing. Of course, the direct delivery center with the Tesla logo is looking pretty good. And as far as I know, they've been doing additional direct deliveries for customers here, and more are in the near future. The Tesla Semi on the bottom of the screen, and next to it's a supercharger. We're going to see some more superchargers coming up later in the video. Of course, here we see many more of the Model Ys on this north outbound lot. And I was looking around to see if there might be any performance Model Ys or anything like that, and I did not see it. If you happen to see any in my video, make sure you let me know in the comment section. Of course, the wash rack is very busy today, as is the new test track. And you can tell where the vehicles are coming in from the south, going around that figure 8 and on the way back as part of that final processing step that Tesla uses here. Of course, more Model Ys off into the outbound lot. I've had some people ask, why isn't the outbound lot completely full of vehicles? Isn't that showing that we're not hitting a high demand? Well, the real point is that they want to get them offsite as soon as possible to the rail yards and headed over to customers. So if they were stockpiled in the outbound lot, that really is not the goal or what Tesla wants to see. Now here in the material staging yard, more of these transformers being staged here. There's three main areas around Giga-Texas, and we'll see all three of them here momentarily or throughout the video. Some more workshops on the bottom of the screen. Here's a quick in view here. This is where I believe that they do ice, and they manufacture the ice and then they distribute it with water around the site for the workers. Now in this clearing, this is a big development. This is where the stamping machine parts for Giga Nevada were stored over the last couple of years. We've been seeing those parts departing for Giga Nevada, and as we talked about in the intro, arriving, and the last of those parts is now gone. Here is some more production equipment arrayed around this part of the site and getting ready to be moved inside. Looks like maybe a red bridge crane that was just partially opened up, and of course more cabinets that have been spotted going into the 4680 cell portion of the factory. Here is where we see superchargers, I believe, being assembled, or maybe these are mega chargers. It's hard for me to tell for sure. If you are much more informed on that and you can identify these, please let me know. But you can tell that they are putting together these kind of pre-assembled sections. One has 4 of those posts. The other one has the wires for the post, but not yet completed. Bring the drone up to a higher altitude. Take a quick look at this clearing where all of the dirt is being stored, some of the spoils or the slurry from the tunneling, and also some more excavation near the houses on the top of the screen. Of course, more of the steel being stored here on the ground, and the second major area where we have transformers. And these have been here for a while. Not really seeing much of a change as far as the numbers. There are deliveries going on. The orange truck at the bottom of the screen, several off to the left, and we'll get a better close view of that. So more production equipment is starting to arrive again. Now there is this pile of production equipment kind of wrapped in the green. It's been here for a while. You can tell by all the dust. Still waiting to find out where this is going to go into the factory. And as soon as I can see that and we can verify, I'll be able to let you know. But so far, not really much change. At the bottom of the screen, we see some more production equipment, perhaps some robotic assemblers in those kind of silver wrapping. And of course, more of the trucks that have just unloaded equipment. You can see some of that underway here with this truck. And off to the right, as we continue to fly past all of those wooden crates in the left of the screen, we see many more trucks arriving with all kinds of different parts and equipment. Looks like some of them are lower in profile, wrapped in the black on the left. Some of them are in crates. Some of them are in accordion truck beds. And of course, some others are on these flat beds. And here's a great close-in look at what this appears like. This one shows the accordion trailer has been opened up and what is inside, and then another one just arriving with this red tarp. So it looks like we are not done getting more production equipment, which is another great sign as they continue to finish up the new production lines. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We'll look around the West Support facility, and then we'll take a look at the caisson work on this side. Here at the caisson, we see many more pipe segments being stored next to the bridge and also by the main site itself. It looks like there is activity with the crane. I'll try to get in here and give you a close-in shot and see what is going on. It looks like the at least the tunneling is stopped for the moment, heading off underneath the drone towards the smaller caisson on the east side of the highway. And it looks like there is some water near the left-hand side. The other smaller caisson I noticed today had a lot of water in it. So the tunneling operation there seems to be maybe at a standstill for the moment, or maybe that explains why they're doing that additional work just to the north of that smaller caisson. As we fly over the perimeter fence and the cyber tunnel, I thought I would take this opportunity to just sort of chase down a few of the Model Ys driving autonomously over to the end of line facility. I'll pick their proper lanes, as you will tell here, and then they will arrive at the north end and wait for the Tesla employees to pick them up, and then drive them into the north part of the end of line for that final processing. So anyway, pretty neat to see this operation, and just to think that these cars are driving autonomously, and with some of the later developments that we've been hearing about, full self-driving and the autonomous capabilities are starting to hit a lot of different countries around the world, including Australia and New Zealand, which we heard today. So I'm going to just fly up to the north, and we'll reposition the drone, and we'll resume on the other side of the highway. Thought I would return here just to show more equipment has been delivered on these flatbeds. You can see the crates, and another one has been lifted up to the platform. This has been going on the entire time I was here flying. I was watching it from my launching point and my flying point while the drone was doing all the work around the site. So it was definitely continuing most of the day. This is where they recycled the cans for the 4680s. And it looks like one of the bins has just been returned from that recycling work. I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We'll take a look at the roof. Specifically, wanted to get an update on what was going on with this section with the new roofing material. All of the debris that was kind of stockpiled on the roof just at the center top of the screen has been removed. And now we'll wait to see what additional work that they do. Here at the north end of the building, showing the 4680 cell portion on the right of the screen, the plastics coming into view here with those two black receiving doors. And of course here we're at the north end of the paint shop. More of those stands for the bumpers, and also some of the dollies to move the bodies around, stockpiled and stored here on this side. Now, I wanted to show you a couple of things here with the casting racking system yard. First, that they are using the Cybertrucks to move the castings around, which is pretty cool. They've been doing that for the last couple of months. And secondly, this is some more trenching, looks like for electrical conduit, and it's coming into those concrete vaults that we see at the bottom of the screen and headed up towards Tesla Road. And we'll have to watch this to see if it connects into some existing conduit or if they have to do some additional trenching. But as I bring the drone up, pass over the power lines, I'll bring the tilt up, and guys get a nice view here of the north end, and also some of those older paint stands that you see next to those racks for the castings. As I bring the drone back down, I will zoom in. We can get a nice look at some of the Cybercab castings on the right of the screen, both the rear subframe and the front underbody. More of the recycling operation underway, plus waiting for that furnace loading system to be assembled, and more materials here next to these receiving doors. There is work going on with the bag house filtration plant today. You can tell with that very large lift, and one of the workers coming up to nearly the top level. And along with that, more castings on the ground. These are all Model Y castings, which are being used at a very high rate right now. And of course, we're back to where we started on that east side of the factory earlier in the video. So I'm going to pull away, kind of reveal the parking lot, the east warehouse on wheels, and some of the other activity far to the east, and we'll resume over next to the cathode building. Did notice that there is activity at the crash testing facility today. We'll kind of bring in the drone a little and look here at the south end first. The crash wall is in place. The covers for the dunk tank is in place as well. Many more vehicles on the fence line that have been tested. And we see even more vehicles now with the covers on them here next to the crash test facility. And it continues to see more and more of those as they are doing additional testing. It's hard to tell for sure what exactly they are testing. This is very interesting. It looks like a crash test rollover for a Model Y, perhaps. You can tell with what was going on with the roof and their inspections. Some other details that are going on inside the north part of the crash testing facility. And of course, as we pull away, we can see the entire facility. That structure in the center is where they have the flying floor, which is part of the crash testing equipment used for rollover and center pole testing. And next to the wade pit, we see cones around on that kind of graveled driveway. And of course, more of the transformers in the third spot around the site that they are being stockpiled. It does look like even more of these green ones have arrived since my last video last week. So that is still continuing. Here on the north end, a quick view of what is going on with the dirt section on the top right, and also that large field in the top center of the screen. And just a real, a brief look at any changes here. I'll try to get a better view of this on my next video. But I'll position the drone here towards the north end of the cathode building. And I thought what I would do is kind of fly along the wall, look to the west, and you can see the earthwork that is going on, some of the dirt that has been stockpiled here, and some other activity in that center section. As we fly over the cooling plant, we can tell that some of the vaporizers do have some of the frost on them. And so that tells us that at least some level of operation is underway. And I'll kind of maneuver the drone here, bring it down in the alley, and give us a closer and lower altitude view of what is going on. You can see that frost at the base of some of the vaporizers. Those are those silver items with tubes that stand vertical. We're now at a lower altitude, so it's a great look at some of these pipes, some of the steel corrugated pipe and concrete pipes. More deliveries taking place here today, and we can tell with those trucks. Now, I'm going to take advantage of some of the shadow of the die shop here to show you some more trenching and concrete boxes on the bottom, more of the concrete segments and vault items being put out here for installation. And as I zoom in, you can see the yellow waterproof moisture barrier in place. That signifies that they are very close to pouring some of the slabs. And in fact, you can see some forms on the left, a section that has been poured, and more is underway. So this is a great sign of the work that is continuing on the inside. In fact, that opening on the left, we can see more of that yellow moisture barrier. And then here it looks like work on the perimeter grade beam and some of the trench work has been initiated here on this opening. And so that looks like they are continuing to work from the south to the north, even on the inside. As we come back over to this area where the dirt is being stockpiled, we can see the dump trucks taking it off site, more of the concrete pipes being delivered, and the workshop here for Keystone, and some more fabrication work for rebar that is going underway here next to these fenced off sections with the staging yard for supplies and materials. Did notice that we have these large gray racks on the ground. I'm going to have to monitor this. I'm not sure, but these may be related to roof HVAC units, perhaps even related to the Evapco units. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see if that is the case, and if so, we'll see that together coming up. Tell that there's more trench work underway on the north end, just on the inside of the building. And then here is additional trench work with pipes down this center section of the kind of the slab that is at a higher altitude or elevation than the rest of the slab. And that continues along this entire west side, one column width and we'll continue to monitor that as much as I possibly can. On the roof, crews are continuing to add the insulation panels and the weatherproof membrane now in the center of the roof. So they have approximately half of the roof completed, and they still have much more to go. And as I kind of maneuver the drone around, this gives you a really good look across the work site, and the pullway gives you an idea of just how much they have completed. So really great progress, still a lot to go, but nevertheless, they will be done here probably in another month or so. Along the west side, you can tell all of the earthwork that's been underway, more of the dirt fill coming in, and the holes in the perimeter grade beam on the right, possibly to allow pipes to go in and out, and that'll be something we'll have to monitor. Here, it looks like they are doing a kind of the drainage point for some of the water pipes to come into the water detention pond. You can tell where it's been kind of terraced here for the work, some of the gravel mix that has been placed in, and that'll be something to monitor to see how that comes together around that Cortex 2 building. Here is more rebar being fashioned into the rebar cages. These are cylindrical. They will be going into these bores being dug by the auger. And this is a great close-in view of what this work looks like. They are preparing for all the footings that will be built, and then that will support much of the steel items that you see on the top right of the finished part of the switchyard. You can also see that some concrete's already being poured in some of those smaller footings. As we come in here, we can see that the two large transformer slabs and catch basins have now been poured with concrete and are complete, and they will be very similar to what we saw on the upper right of the screen with those large transformers. The underground vault has got on both the north and the south side the conduits encased in that red concrete, and they're emanating from both sides. We can see risers on the north side and just conduit coming out here on the south side. Just a reminder, the reason why there's red concrete is that prevents personal injury later on in the future. If there's excavation done, the red will indicate that there's electrical conduit. So that's a good view of that connecting tunnel as well. Now here at Megapack 2, there's continued work at that control trailer on the north end as they're doing more of the final connections and getting this closer and closer to the point where it may be able to go live at some point. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a much higher altitude, kind of review most of the sites that we visited today. And I'll just say it's great to be back flying at Giga-Texas and just showing you what is going on. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this kind of catch-up view and many of the activities that are going on today. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Take care.